Have you ever wondered why some married women, even while wearing a wedding ring, seem so receptive to advances from other men? This is a question many prefer to ignore, but today we're going to face it head on. The truth is that there are dynamics in modern relationships that few understand and even fewer have the courage to discuss. What I'm going to share now isn't based on judgments, but on observations of human nature and principles that have governed relationships for millennia. If you're here seeking personal development, understanding these mechanisms can be fundamental not only for your relationships, but for your growth as a man. Think for a moment. What really keeps a woman faithful and committed in a relationship? Is it just a social contract or a ring on her finger? The Stoics taught us that we must see reality as it is, not as we would like it to be. And the reality about commitment and fidelity might surprise you. Routine is perhaps the greatest enemy of desire. When a marriage falls into sameness, something inside us begins to seek novelty, excitement. This isn't a character flaw, it's simply how we're programmed. The question is, how do you use this knowledge? To manipulate or to build something genuinely valuable? Have you noticed how some men seem to naturally attract female attention, regardless of whether the woman is committed or not? What do they have that others don't perceive? Tell us in the comments if you know someone like this and what you think they do differently. The uncomfortable truth is that many married women feel invisible in their own relationships. The husband who once looked at them with desire now barely lifts his eyes from his phone. The man who promised adventures now only wants to know about the couch and the remote control. It's in this emotional void that doors open for third parties. Studies on human behavior show that we seek in other people what is missing in our current relationships. I'm not defending infidelity. I'm pointing out a pattern that, when understood, can be used to strengthen your own relationships or understand why certain dynamics occur. When was the last time you invested real time to understand what motivates your actions and deepest desires? Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius emphasize the importance of self-knowledge as the foundation for any personal development. Without understanding your own motivations, how can you understand those of others? Respect in a relationship isn't something you win once and it remains forever. It's something that needs to be nurtured and reconquered daily. Many men make the mistake of believing that once they've conquered their partner, the work is done. This is exactly the path to emotional obsolescence. Have you ever questioned yourself about how it would be to apply Stoic principles to your sexuality and relationships? Imagine combining self-control with conscious pursuit of pleasure. Paradoxical? Perhaps. But it's in this apparent contradiction that many men find their way to deeper and more satisfying relationships. Financial prosperity and success in relationships share many principles. Discipline, long-term vision, the ability to delay immediate gratifications for greater rewards in the future. It's no coincidence that men who master one aspect are often successful in the other. How is your self-control in both areas? If this content is resonating with you, leave your comment below sharing which part has impacted you the most so far. Your perspective might help other men who are going through similar situations. Let's now address a topic that few discuss: the role of men as emotional leaders in a relationship. I'm not talking about domination or control, but about direction and stability. Women, even the most independent ones, respond to men who know where they're going in life and invite them on that journey. Many marriages fall into the trap of extreme familiarity. The husband starts treating his wife like part of the furniture, forgetting that she is a woman with desires, dreams, and a need to feel desired. It's this vacuum that other men often fill with a simple attentive look or a genuinely interested conversation. Stoicism teaches us about the importance of distinguishing between what we can and cannot control. You cannot control your partner's feelings or actions, but you can control how you present yourself and interact with her. This distinction is liberating and powerful. How have you been using this power? Think about this. Does your partner still dress up for you, or only when she's going out alone? The answer can reveal a lot about the current state of your relationship. When was the last time you surprised her with something that demonstrates you still see her as a desirable woman, and not just a routine companion. Genuine masculine development isn't about superficial conquest techniques, but about becoming the type of man who naturally attracts what he desires. It's about building internal value, not just external signs of status. Which aspect of your character are you actively developing now? Most men invest more time researching a new smartphone than understanding how female psychology works. And then they wonder why they're caught by surprise when relationships end out of nowhere. Knowledge is power, and understanding female emotional needs is knowledge that could transform your life. Have you heard that the shoemaker's son always goes barefoot? Many men who are extremely competent and detail-oriented in their professions are surprisingly careless in their relationships. Applying the same excellence that you dedicate to work to your love life can bring surprising results. And, curiously, this can also boost your financial prosperity. True conquest isn't about techniques or tricks, but about authenticity and real value. Women have an extremely sensitive radar for detecting falseness. When you're trying to be someone you're not, they perceive it, even if not consciously. How can you become the best version of yourself instead of imitating others? The philosopher Seneca said that life is long if you know how to use it. The same applies to relationships. The question isn't how much time you spend with your partner, but the quality of that time. 10 minutes of genuine attention can have more impact than hours of physical presence without real connection. How have you been spending your time with the one you say you love? Leave in the comments. When was the last time you did something to positively surprise your partner? Your answer might inspire other men to take similar actions. Infidelity rarely begins in bed. It begins in the mind, in small oversights, in conversations that don't happen, in unexpressed feelings. Understanding this process can help you both prevent problems in your own relationship and understand dynamics you observe around you. The paradox of attraction is that the more you demonstrate desperate need for someone, the less attractive you become. That's why many married men who are no longer on the market suddenly seem more attractive to other women. They emanate a confidence and absence of need that is magnetically attractive. How can you cultivate this attitude without games or manipulations? Did you know that studies show a correlation between satisfaction in relationships and productivity at work? Men in healthy relationships tend to have better professional performance and, consequently, greater potential for financial gains. Is your relationship contributing to your prosperity or draining your vital energy? Nonverbal communication constitutes more than 90% of human communication. What is your body saying when you interact with your partner? Does she feel safe, desired, and respected in your presence? Or does your body language communicate boredom, indifference, or even irritation? Women are particularly sensitive to these nuances. Stoicism teaches us not to let ourselves be controlled by momentary desires and impulses. This doesn't mean repressing them, but consciously directing them. How could you apply this principle to your sexuality to create deeper and more meaningful experiences instead of just seeking immediate gratification? The greatest weapon against monotony in a relationship isn't external novelties, but the ability to see your partner with new eyes every day, to appreciate the small changes, to rediscover her continuously. This requires presence and attention, qualities that are also fundamental for financial success. Are you really present in your relationship? Healthy masculinity isn't about dominating or controlling others, but about mastering yourself. The man who has conquered his own destructive impulses, who understands his emotions and expresses them appropriately, who takes responsibility for his mistakes. This man exerts a natural attraction that transcends physical appearance or material status. Have you ever wondered why some women choose the security of one man to marry, but seek excitement with others? The answer isn't in genetics or conspiracy theories about female nature, but in understanding how basic emotional needs work. We all seek both security and excitement. The question is whether we can get both from the same person. If this content is making you reflect on your own behaviors and relationships, leave a comment sharing which insight has been most valuable to you so far. A man's true wealth isn't measured just by the money in his bank account. but by the quality of his relationships, his inner peace, and his ability to face challenges with equanimity. The principles we're discussing here can transform all these areas simultaneously. Many men treat their cars with more care and attention than their relationships. They do preventive maintenance, notice small changes in performance, invest in improvements. Imagine applying that same level of care and attention to your relationship. The results might surprise you. Female desire works differently from male desire. It's more contextual, more linked to how she feels about herself in your presence than to isolated physical attributes. Understanding these differences isn't manipulation. It's empathy and applied emotional intelligence. How could you create contexts more conducive to desire in your relationship? A question few men ask themselves. Would you be attracted to yourself if you were a woman? I'm not just talking about physical appearance, but about how you behave, how you treat others, how you manage your emotions, how you demonstrate or don't genuine interest. This question can open doors to profound personal development. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said that first we must learn the rules of the game and then play better than everyone. In the context of relationships, this means understanding the basic principles of human attraction and connection and then applying them with excellence and integrity. Which rules do you still need to understand better? Financial prosperity often follows the path of least regret. When you make decisions aligned with your deepest values, you avoid the emotional wear of regrets that drain your energy and focus. The same principle applies to relationships. Are your daily actions building a life you'll be proud of in the future? Have you noticed how some people seem to naturally attract abundance, whether in relationships, money, or opportunities? There's a mental state, a way of being in the world that attracts resources instead of repelling them. This state combines confidence with openness, assertiveness with gratitude. How could you cultivate this mindset? Respect in a relationship is like oxygen. You only notice it when it starts to lack. Small acts of disrespect, seemingly harmless, corrode the emotional foundation of the couple. The good news? Respect can also be built and rebuilt through consistent actions. What small change could you implement today to demonstrate more respect? If you're finding this content valuable, don't forget to leave your like and share it with friends who could benefit from these reflections. Applied knowledge has the power to transform lives. Mature masculinity understands that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. Showing yourself genuinely, with your doubts and insecurities, paradoxically, can make you more attractive and respected. Don't confuse vulnerability with emotional neediness. They are completely different things. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be truly vulnerable with someone? Many men believe they need to hide their emotions to appear strong. What they don't realize is that this constant repression often explodes at inappropriate moments, causing damage to relationships and their own mental health. How could you express your emotions in a healthy and masculine way? The Stoic Marcus Aurelius said that our life is what our thoughts make of it. Are your thoughts about relationships and about yourself as a man creating the reality you desire? Or are they silently sabotaging your best intentions? The first step to changing external results is changing the internal dialogue. Have you noticed how some people seem to create drama and chaos in all their relationships, while others naturally cultivate harmonious and deep connections? The difference isn't in the partners they choose, but in internal patterns of thought and behavior. What patterns are you bringing to your relationships? Genuine attraction cannot be forced or manipulated in the long term. It arises naturally when you become the type of man who respects himself enough to live according to his values, who doesn't seek constant external validation, and who offers real value to the people around him. How could you become more of this man every day? The most important conquest isn't of others, but of yourself. The man who has conquered his fears, his insecurities, his negative impulses is naturally magnetic. He doesn't need to chase, he attracts. What aspect of yourself do you need to conquer now to become this natural force of attraction? Prosperity isn't just financial, it's an abundance in all important areas of life. A truly prosperous man cultivates wealth of experiences, of meaningful human connections, of knowledge, of health, and of material resources. In which of these areas do you need to focus more attention currently? Have you noticed how some people naturally inspire others to give their best, while others seem to drain energy and motivation? What differentiates these two types of people? And how can you become more of the first type in your personal and professional relationships? Stoic philosophy teaches us to find balance between accepting what we cannot change and having the courage to change what we can. Applied to relationships, this means understanding that we cannot completely control how others respond to us, but we can absolutely control how we present ourselves to the world. This simple principle, when truly internalized, can completely transform your life experience. Let's talk about something that is rarely discussed openly: the role of integrity in attraction. Many men believe they need deceptive tactics to win or keep a partner. The truth is that authentic integrity, when your words, actions, and values are perfectly aligned, exerts a magnetic attraction force. Why? Because it's extremely rare. Have you been integrating integrity in your relationships? Here's a powerful question for your reflection. What is the emotional legacy you're creating? Every relationship leaves deep marks on the people involved. Some men leave a trail of insecurity and distrust wherever they go. Others elevate and inspire even those with whom they are no longer. What kind of emotional impact are you having on the people in your life? Stoicism teaches us the importance of living according to nature, not just external nature, but our higher internal nature. When a man lives in disagreement with his deepest values, he creates an internal dissonance that drains his energy and undermines his natural magnetism. Are you living in alignment with your highest values? The lack of genuine masculine presence is a silent epidemic in our society. Many men are physically present but emotionally absent, lost in screens, professional concerns, or escapist fantasies. This absence creates a vacuum that others will inevitably fill. How truly present have you been in your important relationships? Have you noticed that the same principles that build a strong and healthy body also build strong and healthy relationships? Consistency overcomes occasional intensity. Small daily actions have more impact than sporadic grand gestures. Recovery is as important as effort. How could you apply this training mindset to your relationship? Deep masculine attractiveness has more to do with presence than appearance. A man fully present, who listens with his whole being, who observes and perceives nuances, who responds with genuine consideration instead of automatic reactions. This man is immensely attractive, regardless of his physical appearance. How could you cultivate more of this quality of presence? One of the biggest traps in modern relationships is the constant comparison with idealized couples on social media. This creates unrealistic expectations and chronic dissatisfaction. Stoicism teaches us to value what we have and focus on what we can improve instead of lamenting what we lack. How can you more deeply appreciate your current relationship while working to improve it organically? Here's a truth many prefer to ignore. Male sexual energy needs to be consciously directed or will find destructive paths. When channeled appropriately, this same energy can drive creativity, productivity, and deep connections. How have you been directing your sexual energy? Are you using this powerful resource consciously or wasting it? Money and sex share many psychological similarities. Both are areas where excessive neediness repels, where abundance attracts more abundance, where anxiety diminishes performance, and where mindset directly impacts results. What insights can you transfer from one area to another in your life? Leave in the comments. Which aspect of masculine development do you consider most challenging? Your honesty can help other men who are facing similar challenges. Did you know that the ability to delay gratification is one of the greatest predictors of success in life? Studies show that people who can resist immediate rewards in favor of greater benefits in the future have more financial success, more stable relationships, and better health. How could you strengthen this mental muscle in your life? A healthy relationship requires both independence and interdependence. Many men oscillate between excessive emotional dependence and defensive distancing. The balance isn't being complete in yourself, but open to deep connection with the other. This balance not only strengthens relationships, but also enhances financial opportunities. How have you navigated between autonomy and connection? Here's an insight that few comment on. Healthy sexual tension in a long-term relationship requires a certain measure of mystery and unpredictability. When we become completely predictable to our partner, something fundamental to attraction begins to dissipate. How could you reintroduce elements of surprise and discovery into your relationship without manipulative games? Many men use work and the pursuit of money as an escape from emotional challenges. Paradoxically, this escape often sabotages the very financial success they seek, as it creates imbalances that eventually take their toll. True prosperity arises from balance among all important areas of life. Is your financial focus serving your life as a whole or compensating for other neglected areas? Stoic philosophy teaches us about the importance of the right perspective. The same event can be seen as catastrophe or opportunity, depending on our perspective. This applies perfectly to challenges in relationships. How could you transform the inevitable conflicts and difficulties into opportunities for growth and deeper connection? A potent question for your reflection. If your partner could see all your thoughts for an entire day, would she feel more loved or less loved? The true measure of a relationship isn't just in our external actions, but in the quality of our thoughts about the other person. How have you been talking about your partner in your internal dialogue? Have you ever stopped to consider how your models of masculinity in childhood shaped your current approach to relationships? Many men unconsciously reproduce patterns they observed, for better or worse. Awareness of these models is the first step to consciously choosing which aspects to incorporate and which to transcend. What influences are you carrying without realizing? Authentic communication is simultaneously gentle and direct. Many men oscillate between unnecessary aggressiveness and ineffective passivity. The middle ground, compassionate assertiveness, is a skill that not only transforms relationships, but also opens professional and financial doors. How would you rate your communication currently? We're reaching the final part of this content, and I want to share something fundamental. All the knowledge about masculine development, conquest, and Stoicism that we've discussed so far only has real value when consistently applied in your life. Knowledge without application is just intellectual entertainment. How do you plan to implement at least one idea from this video into your daily routine? The true measure of a man isn't how many women he conquers, but the depth of connection he can create. Paradoxically, the more a man develops his capacity for genuine connection, instead of superficial conquest techniques, the more naturally attractive he becomes. How could you further develop your capacity for authentic connection? Many men seek constant external validation, whether through sexual conquests, material accumulation, or social status. This pursuit, when motivated by internal insecurity, creates a cycle of temporary satisfaction followed by growing emptiness. The truly developed man finds his primary validation internally, aligned with his values. Where does your main source of validation come from? We're coming to the end of this content, and I want to leave you with a powerful reflection. Everything we discussed today, from understanding why certain women become vulnerable to infidelity to how to develop a mature and attractive masculinity, has a common denominator: self-knowledge and personal responsibility. The man who understands his own motivations, who takes responsibility for his mistakes without martyring himself, who seeks constant evolution without obsession with impossible perfection. This man naturally creates around himself a field of respect, attraction, and prosperity. Not because he manipulates others, but because his genuine presence inspires and elevates. Remember, the outer world is just a reflection of your inner world. If you desire deep, meaningful, and loyal relationships, become the type of man who naturally inspires these qualities. If you seek material prosperity, first cultivate the mental and emotional abundance that attracts resources. And now, I want to hear from you. Which insight from this video was most impactful for your life? How do you intend to apply it concretely? Share in the comments. Your experience might be exactly what another man needs to hear today. Thank you for investing your most valuable time, your attention, in this content. If it brought value to you, don't forget to leave your like, share it with those who need to hear these reflections, and subscribe for more content that can transform your life. Until the next video,